for your question. Our next question comes from John Hecht with Jefferies. Please proceed.
Afternoon, guys. Echo those congratulations on good numbers in a choppy environment. So my first question is just, I know it's very early on, but maybe can you give us kind of your perspective on early progress within the bank and kind of what KPIs you're looking for and what we should look out for over time?
Thank you, John. One of the key strategies of having the bank license is being able to offer a super differentiated checking and savings account. When we originally launched SoFi Money, we were not a bank back in 2019, and we were sort of, beholden to the interest rate that we could get from sweep partners. But now, as a bank, we can offer the interest rate that we think is most attractive. And currently, we're offering up to 1.25% on and a host of other benefits as a member and other benefits in that account. We charge no fees. We do free roundups. We have overdraft protection. You get a free certified financial planner, our relationship, in addition to all the other breaks you get on other loans, etc. We've seen tremendous uptake of that product since we launched it. I will say, and this is in my prepared remarks, it is incredibly challenging waiting for the Federal Reserve and the OCC to give us the final approval. It wasn't clear when they were going to do it or if they were going to do it, given the political environment we're in. And so we were sitting ready with marketing and collateral and plans and technology and operations ready to flip the switch. But once we did that, it took a while to get things rolling in Q1, and we came out of Q1 and Q2, really seeing the benefits. Our direct deposit uptake is up 60% on a conversion basis, and the number of direct deposit accounts added per week has doubled in Q2 versus Q1. And as Chris mentioned, we're up to over 1.5 billion in deposits, and it's growing at about $100 million in deposits per week. And the feedback from an NPS score basis is really strong. So we couldn't be happier with that competitive advantage that we now have. As we bring people in through the top of the funnel, it increases the amount of cross-buying we have. And as you know, in a personal loan product, we double our variable profit per loan when someone cross-buys from money or invest into that. And money is really one of the products that things start with, as is invest and relay. And our customer acquisition costs there are very attractive, and we're actually leaning in even more because the LTV is turning out to be even higher than we thought based on our indications. So we're really happy with that product. The second thing I'd say is, it took a while to get to the bank and go through the process. And there are plans that we have specifically, like the checking savings account and funding our new loans in the bank. But there are other opportunities that are now coming to light, such as having a sponsored BIN business that we can partner with Galileo on. They have B2B partners that they're adding. There's a lot of them in the B2B channel. Well, we can be a sponsored bank in B2B. And so that's the new revenue stream that we're working on with the regulators to launch and with our partners there. So there's a number of other things that will come down the pipeline as a result of having the bank that weren't contemplated until we actually got the license.
That's very helpful. Appreciate all that detail. A follow-up question. Maybe just because it's been a volatile market, I think credit spreads are drifting around, and obviously interest rates are moving upward. Maybe talk about the components of the gain on sale, and is there any kind of different trends you're observing on your different asset types, and kind of the outlook for that?
Yeah, I can take that one, John. So what I would say is that there are a few important things to know when thinking about the overall trends in gain on sale margins, especially on a quarter-to-quarter basis. And there are a number of factors that play into that, most predominantly rates, spreads, and then obviously the price that we're charging on the loans that we sell. In addition to those factors, it's really important to incorporate the impact of hedge gains and losses, which are critical, particularly in an environment that we're in right now. So in Q1, our gain on sale margins, excluding hedge gains, were 4.2%, and they were north of 4.5% once you include hedges associated with loans sold in period. Our student loan refinancing business had gain on sale margins of 1.5%, excluding the hedge, and north of 4% once you include the hedges. And then our home loans business was negative 60 basis points, excluding the hedge, and north of 2% once you include the hedges. So they've been relatively consistent on a hedge-adjusted basis over the course of the last several quarters, and we expect them to be able to maintain that. The only other thing I would say as it relates to our lending business is that we obviously seek to maximize profit dollars in our lending business and stay within a 40 to 50% contribution margin range. And we obviously have a number of levers to do that. Despite the rapidly rising rate environment that we've been going through over the course of the last quarter plus, we were still able to deliver $133 million of contribution dollars at a 54% margin across our entire portfolio, even as rates went up 80 to 150 basis points across the curve. And one of the other things I would just add, John, to the benefit of those that weren't that close to the company back in 18 and 19. When we joined in 2018, Michelle and I were looking at 4 to 5 rate increases throughout 18 and 19. And we rapidly developed a strategy of being able to test 6 different 6x6 grids simultaneously in the marketplace. And at that time, the company really only had the ability to test 2 prices. We spent the better part of 2018 not just testing all these different prices and building that capability, but also understanding the unit economics by marketing channel and perfecting that over time. So the level of sophistication we have in marketing, pricing, and credit is really built over the last 4 years. So as rates are going up, even though our funding costs are going down, we are being prudent about making sure we have the right price for the right credit through constantly testing and also leveraging different channels that we know have certain types of loan losses and quality performance. In addition to that, we have an early warning framework that our risk team has built out that we actually executed at the beginning of 2020, the beginning of the pandemic, to make sure that we're in a position to be able to pull back if economic conditions start to provide leading indicators that are at risk. So we're playing on both ends of the spectrum, offensively with pricing and channels, and then if the market turns over in some way that's not what was predicted, we can also pivot back the other way.
Wonderful, guys. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your question. Our next question comes from Dominic Gabriel with Oppenheimer. Please proceed.
Hey, thanks so much for taking my questions and great results. If you just think about your investment initiatives, how may have those changed since the end of the year 21 versus today, since the market seems to be signaling, a changing consumer environment? Have you changed any of your kind of investment dollar targets for your various business mix? And then I just have a follow-up. Thanks so much.
The answer is yes, and it's been like that every quarter since we launched the business. We do an annual planning process that starts in the fall. Our staff sets the priorities for the company for the following year. We did that in September and October. We laid out 6 priorities. The team then does the bottoms-up financial plans against those 6 priorities, and then we start the year. Around mid-February, we start what's called a March revised forecast, which will be a revision of the plan based on everything we've learned. And so all the market conditions that change from December, January, February, and the performance of our business get factored into that revised forecast. We go through that same process every quarter. That's what allows us to assess where are things going well, where are things more challenging than we thought, how do we reallocate our resources against that umbrella of 6 priorities to deliver results. So, and we do a weekly latest call process as well, evaluating all the nitty-gritty details across all our funnels and our products and our financial performance, so that when we go into that revised forecast, we're not starting from scratch. We've built on back of 7 or 8 weeks of actual results in the quarter and what we're seeing in forward curves and the competitive environment, et cetera. So it's a constant process, and when you have the diverse set of businesses that we have, it gives you a lot of advantages, and you're not stuck in one silo. I'm not going to give you the specifics because it's multifaceted, but obviously the personal loan business did much better. We saw that opportunity and we moved into it. Student loan business got negatively impacted by the president's unexpected extension of moratorium. We pulled back significantly in the marketing there and reallocated it. And we're starting to reallocate more aggressively to things like checking and savings because we're seeing the flow through to the loans and higher LTV justifying more investment there. So it's a constant data-driven process.
Great. And then just for my follow-up, if we just think about the moratorium versus the floating idea of perhaps even $10,000 of debt relief within student lending, how does that impact the business versus the moratorium? And I really do appreciate the early remarks on the high-income customers. I would assume those folks maybe took out larger loans on average than just the average loan person within student there. So any color you could provide on how that might affect your business and how you're thinking about that dynamic between the moratorium and the $10,000 per person debt forgiveness. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll try to take a broader perspective on this to educate those that may not be aware. So prior to the pandemic, our student loan refinancing business had an average loan size of about $70,000. So the average loan that was being refinanced was $70,000. And we were doing over $2 billion of quarterly refinancings. Since then, we've operated at 50% or below, other than the fourth quarter, when people thought that moratorium was going to end in January, and we saw a big surge in late November and December. So about $70,000, the demographics Chris mentioned, have generally been the same. What people should understand is anyone that's already refinanced with us will not be
What is he doing with the mic?
federal student loan forgiveness because they now have private loans. The federal student loan forgiveness that's been talked about has ranged from $10,000 for everybody, to $10,000 for those that were in economic need below a certain income class, to $50,000 for everybody. With the President Biden campaign behind $10,000 of forgiveness for those that had a need, he didn't quantify it. What's been talked about more recently, the President said, I'm not interested in $50,000 of forgiveness per person, and his advisors are pointing more towards $10,000 of forgiveness below a certain economic level. There's a lot of debate on economic level. I've heard everything from $75,000 of income to $125,000 of income. The best thing for SoFi and for SoFi shareholders in our business is if he announces, the best thing is he ends the moratorium and we just move on. But that's unlikely. What's more likely is some level of forgiveness. If there is some level of forgiveness, $10,000 and below, I think would be great for our business. Now you may say, that applies to everybody. It doesn't apply to everybody. There's a cohort of people that have been waiting for student loan forgiveness, and they have not refinanced. And that's in our demographic as well. Once there actually is forgiveness, there's nothing to wait for anymore. You now know what the plan is, and you have to make a decision. Well, if you had 70,000 loans, which is our target market, and you get $10,000 of forgiveness, you still have to refinance $60,000, but the number of people that be refinancing will be magnitude greater than it was in the past, because there's really no reason to wait any longer, especially with rates going up, and there's likely not going to be a second wave of forgiveness. The scenario where there's $10,000 of forgiveness for people with $125,000 income or lower is really advantageous to us, given the demographics that we set at a weighted average income of $170,000. And so that's the way I would think about it. In terms of our financial guidance, we've assumed that the moratorium will extend all the way through 2022. So our guidance that Chris mentioned of $1.505 billion to $1.510 billion is an assumption that the student loan business does not recover. In fact, it continues to be relatively depressed and could wane even more.
Excellent. Thanks so much for all that color.
Thank you for your question. Our next question comes from Mike Ng with Goldman